G'day, good day to you, and how the bloody hell are you? It is CrackAFruity, and finally I'm bringing you a game of Scavenger. Now, those that have been following along at home will know that I always like to try and use a party mode of some sort for these drunken stories. And last week I missed one, but anyway, I'm back with a game of Scavenger. It is, of course, on one of the new Aftermath maps. And by the way, still loving that DLC. But, of course, none of that is important, because what is important is the fact that it's Friday, and that can only mean one thing.
It is time for Drunken Story. It is time for Drunken Story.
Yes, and today's Drunken Story is more of a lesson than anything else. Now, it is a very important lesson that all of you should take note of. Always remember this. When you are drunk, and when you have friends around that are drunk, power tools should absolutely be off limits. Otherwise, you can come into a scenario like this week's Drunken Story. So this week's story is going to be a fairly short one, but that's okay. It's Christmas, it's that time of year, you don't want to have to sit around watching this forever. But anyway, it involves two of my friends. One of them I've spoken about before. If you've been following along, you'll know him as Ronnie. So that's one of the guys. The other guy, who will also remain nameless, but I'm going to give him a name anyway. Let's call him, I don't know, let's call him Sergeant, or Sarge. So myself, Ronnie and Sarge had been, well, we started at my place, we had a few drinks, everything like that. Of course, you get to that point of the evening where it becomes a fantastic idea to catch a taxi into town, go to one of the nightclubs or pubs that are open late, and have, of course, copious amounts more beer or whatever we're drinking. So anyway, we'd been out, we'd been drinking, carrying on, everything like that. The three of us were fairly drunk at this point. Time to go home, but, you know, we didn't want it to stop there. We thought, let's go home, let's have more beers or whatever. And that's what we did. So we headed home. I came into my kitchen living room area to grab a few beers out for the boys. And next thing I know, I hear some commotion out in the front entrance. Now, bearing in mind, at the time, Ronnie was in fact a housemate of mine. So he was living with myself and my girlfriend Van, who's now my wife, but he was living with us, so of course he had all of his stuff here. So first of all, my mate Sarge, he for whatever reason thought it was going to be hilarious to you know, get his meat and tackle out and run around up and down the hallway, yeah, with his willy hanging out. Now, not 100% sure why he thought that was going to be a good idea, but anyway, that's not the point of the story. I would, however, just like to quickly say, if you ever find yourself drunk and think it's going to be a fantastic idea to get your willy out and run around the house, you know, I just want to say now, it's kind of weird. So weird, in fact, that Ronnie decided that he was going to, you know, in a humorous comeback, get his power saw, circular saw, you know, his power saw, and plug it in, fire it up, and chase Sarge down the hallway. So first of all, I look out the doorway between the, you know, the lounge room and the hallway, and there's Sarge running up and down with his willy hanging out. And then next thing you know, bear in mind it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, I hear this power saw start up, and I thought, what the hell's going on here? So I've opened the door and looked, and here comes Ronnie bursting around the corner with his power saw. He's got the safety latch held back, and he just goes bolting after Sarge, who starts screaming like a little girl, and just hightails it up to one of the bedrooms at the end of the hallway. So at this point of the story, you might be thinking, wow, this sounds really stupid, that a drunk guy would be running up a hallway with a power saw with the safety latch held back. And the reality is, this is actually stupid. It's a really terrible idea. And the next part of the story, unfortunately, does get a little bit worse. So as Ronnie was running up the hallway with this circular saw, as he was approaching the end of the hallway where Sarge was with his willy out, unfortunately, the cord unplugged itself and he wasn't able to chop that willy off. So the moral of the story is, get yourself an extension cord, guys. If you've got a guy running around in your house with his willy out, someone has a duty and a responsibility to chase that guy up the hallway with a circular saw and cut his willy off. Don't be left unprepared like Ronnie was that day. Well, that's the end of another Drunken story. Hopefully you've enjoyed it. Believe it or not, that is actually a true story. As stupid as it sounds, and it is stupid, but, you know, this is back when we were young and dumb, and obviously fairly lucky for Sarge that the cord on the circular saw wasn't too long. But anyway, if you this isn't the first in my series, so if you haven't checked out the other ones, I'm going to put some links on the screen. Make sure you go and check those ones out. Particularly, I think number 5 it was a favourite of mine. The story's a favourite, plus it was a good gameplay to boot. So go and check those out. If you're new to my channel, remember to hit subscribe, and if you've enjoyed this one, please give it a like. Thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.